Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. I was just trying to play some background music while we waited for folks to get into the waiting room. So my name is Tamara. I'm president of Afro UPRIS, which is the Black Democratic Club of Santa Clara County. And I'm sure many of you have heard, our goal is basically to amplify the already activated Black community and using the Democratic Party as our platform. And one way that we do that is by offering connection to elected officials or candidates in this case. So today is our first Meet the Candidates event for 2024. We have an extended meeting, so it's 6:30 to 8. If anyone is concerned, I'm just going to let you know I'm live streaming to our Afro UPRIS YouTube account. So if anyone's concerned with privacy, just ensure that you have your video off or you change your name. So I'm just going to take this sound thing off so it doesn't annoy me for the next 5 minutes. So welcome, everyone. I'm just going to put a prompt in the chat. Hopefully, folks are able to see the chat. Basically, just name, pronouns, what's your role in the community, where are you zooming in from? And some of you have your names on Zoom, so that's fine. We can see you. But if you'd like to introduce yourself, please do in the chat. And we have a short agenda between now and 6:40 before we hear more from our candidates. So again, name, pronouns, what's your role in the community, where are you zooming in from? My name is Tamara Hall, she, they. I'm president of Afro UPRIS. I'm also a teacher. I've been living in San Jose for 9 years. And I live in Japantown. Also, Muwekma Ohlone land. So if anyone wants to put that down, you can. I know we have some other Afro UPRIS e-board members. So if you'd like to introduce yourself either in the chat or on camera, go ahead. Thank you, Sabrina and Kiyoshi. Okay. So as I mentioned, it's a pretty tight agenda. We're going to be going until 8 p.m. We're going to first start by hearing from some candidates from City Council. Someone did email me asking what about District 10 candidates. So we kind of just split it. So we had an even amount of seats that we were seeing January 16th tonight and February 20th our next time. So we will be hearing from candidates in District 10 for San Jose City Council on February 20th, as well as Board of Supervisors for anyone who was wondering. But tonight it'll be District 2, District 4, District 6, and District 8, San Jose City Council. Before I get into that, I just want to give 2 updates. So that was my first update, February 20th, next Meet the Candidates meeting. We may also have one in between now and then. I've noticed that there's been quite a few other races, and a lot of people have expressed interest in meeting with Afro UPRIS members. And it depends on what the membership would like. Either we do another Zoom or we have something in person where people can attend and connect a little bit more organically. The second update I have is Afro UPRIS will actually be marching in the Black Joy Parade in Oakland on Sunday, February 25th. So if anyone is interested in being a part of that march in the parade, please let me know. And I see a lot more folks have put into the chat. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Pamela, for introducing yourselves. And as I was mentioning, if anyone who is an Afro UPRIS member would like to join in the parade, please let me know. On that note, if you would like to become an Afro UPRIS member, please let me know and we can meet. I can help you learn more, and hopefully you can meet other executive board members and we can see how your values align with the mission of our club. And the aim in that is hoping we get you as a member, but also that we work alongside any work that you're doing in the community. We use our platform in the Democratic Party to amplify that message, that cause, or that issue. Thank you, Teresa, for introducing yourself in the chat. So we're going to get into starting with District 2, Pamela Campos, Babu Prasad, and Vanessa Sandoval. We'll be hearing from each of them in that order. 1-minute introductions. And then if anyone has any questions, I would, you can put it in the chat. I'm not sure if the Q&A feature is enabled, but you can just put your question in the chat or raise your hand if you'd like to utilize your voice to ask the question. And so after each person introduces themselves, then we will hear from Afro UPRIS members any questions that you all may have for the candidates. Does anyone have any questions about the process?
Tamara, I just want to also acknowledge Joe Lopez is another candidate for the D2 race.
Oh, yes, sorry. I forgot to put you on my list. Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you for that, Pamela.
I knew you were going to be here, and I just didn't type your name on my agenda. I apologize for that. So yes, we will be hearing from Pamela, Joe, and Babu, and then Vanessa in that order. And I just want to make sure we have everybody. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay, wonderful. Great. So I am going to be sharing a timer. As I mentioned, it's 1 minute for each person for introduction. Let's see. There we go. So I'll mute myself in just a moment, but I'm going to pin Pamela and then I will start the timer. So go ahead and introduce yourself. I'm going to spotlight you. There you go. If it works, hopefully it does. I'm not sure how you view it versus how I view it, but you should be able to see the timer just as I am seeing the timer. So, okay.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I am incredibly honored to be with you all in community. I am a lifelong San Jose resident, born and raised in this city, daughter of a working class immigrant family. And I have been shaped by our city's policies, programs, and public schools. I am an educator. I began my career as a preschool teacher, and what I saw was a system that doesn't work for our children, our families, and definitely not our educators. So I began a career in public policy to be a conduit for change. And now I'm running for city council because we need leaders who are going to address the issues that matter most to our community, which include protecting reproductive rights, building housing for families like mine, and a better economy that works for working people. I think it is time to elect the next generation of leaders today, and I look forward to addressing the issues that you all care most about.
Wonderful, thank you. Did you all see the timer?
No.
Oh, okay. That was 3 seconds under. So I don't know why. Okay, I see the timer now. Can you see it or no?
No, Tamara.
Okay, thank you. I don't know why it's not working, but I see it. Let's see. Maybe that'll work.
Now
Can you
it's
see it
working.
now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was
Mm.
interesting.
Okay.
All right, my apologies. Okay, here we go. Next person. Let me just make sure I have everything up here. Okay, Joe Lopez, are you ready? 1 minute.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Joe Lopez. I'm a candidate for District 2 City Council. Although I've been here for probably the majority of my life in San Jose, I've lived here in my current residence for 33 years. I actually was born in Los Angeles and raised in the valley next to us in the Salinas Valley. Um, my early origins, I went to high school and started an early venture into uh, civil rights when I joined Cesar Chavez back in the day, and I'm probably dating myself with all of you. But anyway, that's how I got my origins into civil rights work, working with Cesar Chavez, and then coming up here to San Jose, going to San Jose State, and then intervening into law enforcement. Uh, my background in life has very much been a contradiction in terms of what I've done and what I've accomplished. I had to fight to get into law enforcement. I was part of a group that filed lawsuits against the city to level the playing field that to this day has had its impact in allowing people of diverse backgrounds to enter into law enforcement, and so we choose. And it's a necessary field for people of color to get into because of the very nature of the way things are, as you well know, even in your own organization. So I come with a pretty broad background in terms of what I've done, but I currently serve as president for the National Latino Peace Officers Association, and we do scholarships and scholarship events, and we're going to be having our 50-year anniversary this year.
Thank you. All right, next, Babu Prasad. Let me reset the timer for you. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. It is truly an honor to be here this evening with all of you. My name is Babu Prasad. I'm running election for San Jose City Council District 2. I stand before you as an immigrant. I'm Nepalese American. Family man, my wife and I have two lovely children. Community leader, I'm chairman of District 2 Leadership Council and Hayes Neighborhood Association. A small business owner in District 2 and City of San Jose. I was a member of Neighborhood Commission in City of San Jose. I'm running for office because I believe our community deserves a strong, compassionate, visible, and hardworking leader that normally listen to the community and act on their behalf. With increasing inequality, housing crisis, and underfinanced public services, it is clear to see that there is much work need to be done. I'm committed to finding innovative ways to generate revenue without burdening our low-income residents. I stand for government accountability, affordable housing, and right to healthcare to all, regardless of their income, background, or ethnicity. I'm dedicated to being transparent,
That's 1
accountable.
minute.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. All righty, everyone. For those of you who have questions, please go ahead and add your questions into the chat. So I'm actually gonna, for each question, we'll have 1 minute per candidate, and I'll ask the first question.
Tamara Binesa is still need to be introduced.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do multiple things at once, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for being so patient. And here we go. Let's see. 1 minute. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Thank you, Tamara. My name is Vanessa Sandoval, and I got my start in public service as an undergraduate at UC Berkeley, where I began doing work study with the immigrant community. For over 10 years, I have fought for comprehensive immigration reform. I've been an advocate for resources for our most underserved communities. I've had the joy and honor of representing immigrants on their pathway towards legalization, family reunification, and protection from deportation. In addition to my work as an immigrant rights advocate and legal representative, I've currently served as the Chief of Staff for Councilmember Sergio Jimenez. And in that role, I have provided constituent services to the residents of District 2. And the concerns that I want to continue working on is making sure that we're building sufficient affordable housing so that San Jose becomes an affordable city for everyone. I want to make sure that we're building trust among law enforcement, that we're protecting our open space, and that we are maintaining our parks, libraries, and community centers. And that's the reason why I'm running. So thank you for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so we're actually going to go back opposite order for each person to answer this question. Again, if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat, or you can direct them to me in the chat and I can ask, or raise your hand, please. So first question, and we'll start with Vanessa. Okay. Sorry, I actually don't have the question typed up, but I'll just say it slowly. For Afro UPRIS, one of our goals, long-term goals, is to ensure that families have access to affordable housing, permanent and supportive housing in San Jose. And what is something that you have done or plan to do to ensure that Black communities, families, as well as other communities of color have access to affordable housing?
Thank you for the question. So I was a strong advocate for San Jose's tenant protection ordinance, which basically created our just cause requirements. So currently under that ordinance, there needs to be a justification for an eviction. I was a strong advocate for that, wrote the supporting memos to get that ordinance passed in my role as Chief of Staff. And I want to continue working to create programs that protect people against displacement. For example, providing a representation in eviction court. I think that's key. A lot of folks are getting evicted because they simply don't have the resources to properly defend themselves in eviction court. I also really care about making sure that we're building sufficient affordable housing. And what that means to me is that we're streamlining it. We're making it much more cost effective by implementing processes under which developments can go up quicker and we can break ground faster. I also really want to continue looking at the renovation of underutilized properties such as hotels and motels to increase our affordable housing stock here in San Jose, as well as to protect the affordable housing stock that exists.
Thank you so much. Babu Prasad, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, it's okay. I'm okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So, like affordable housing is like basic need for all our community members. We need like housing on the top of our roof. Rent control is already in ordinance in the city, but we have to stand for robust rent control. Zoning reform, we have to streamline zoning, allow to high density area and develop like affordable housing. So it's nearby the transit hub. So our community member, they can move one place to another place. Utilize public land, find out the unutilized public land, which we can use, for example, Southside Community Center we have here, underdeveloped and unutilized parking spaces like BTA parking, we can develop their affordable housing. Support non-profit organization which is working for the development and for affordable housing. One more thing, new develop, they have a 15% affordable housing. I'm going to fight for the 20% affordable housing they can build. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Lopez, 1 minute. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, so let's have an honest discussion about affordable housing in the Silicon Valley. And to start with, there is no affordable housing. Home prices start at $1 million. Construction prices are at $1 million. I don't envision it getting any better. The developers are now refraining from doing high-rise housing because of the costs. So there's no easy remedy, no quick fix. I am a mom and pop's manager of my own rental units. And I have actually been involved in low-cost rental housing by putting my units out at below market rates and trying to keep my tenants in a clean, safe home. But the problem has now become an issue with cost in renting and managing units. So I, like a lot of other people, are now faced with having to sell units. So there's no quick fix, no easy fix, and that is a discussion that takes a lot more than a minute.
Thank you for your response. Pamela.
I, in my work, have been a strong advocate for building more housing, especially affordable housing that meets the needs of working class families. I am part of a community advisory committee in District 2, giving input on the emergency interim housing development going up on Branham and Monterey Lane, and making sure that we're not just building housing, but that we're taking that as an opportunity to build community. I am really excited about the project that the African American Community Services Association is working to develop, and I'm going to be a strong champion to make sure that that gets built as soon as possible and on budget, because it includes childcare, and that is hugely important, not just for African American communities, but for women and for families. So I will be a strong champion to invest funding into our housing, streamlining our development process, and looking into policies that will allow for home ownership, especially for communities that have been historically marginalized, such as women, people of color, and Indigenous communities.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me stop this first. I'm going to check the chat. If anyone has any questions, you can utilize the chat to type your question. If you want to raise your hand, you may. If you want to just direct it to me, that's fine too. So on this next question, because we have about 7 minutes left, I think I'll give you each a minute and a half. And we'll start with Pamela. Let me change the timer. There we go. Okay, next question. Another goal for Afro UPRIS, which correlates to the Black agenda that the Black Leadership Kitchen Cabinet has for the Black community of Santa Clara County, is ensuring that we have access to jobs in the area. So my question is, how are you going to ensure that not just people coming out of colleges, but other adults who may be going from one job to the next are going to be able to get a job to afford to be able to stay in San Jose?
I love this question because it is important that we are developing jobs that are going to support our current and future workforce. And as an educator, one of the things that I'm most excited to do if elected is work with our schools so that we can make sure that from middle school, high school, and onward, we are developing a pipeline for youth to go into good paying careers, especially in our building and trades. Because when I was a student at Gunderson, I saw that the only peers that had access to those kinds of vocational trainings were my peers who were at risk of failing out of school. And we need to reframe our thinking so that college isn't the only opportunity we're trying to promote our youth to, but also including them in the building and trades, making sure that we have more of that programming on campus at the middle, high school, and community college level, because those are good paying jobs. They provide benefits for families, a pension, and we really need to ensure that those jobs have a workforce so that we can continue to build the housing that our community needs, so that we can make sure that our community members are living and serving the community that they are a part of. And I look forward to being a part of that solution.
Thank you. Joe Lopez, same question. How are you going to ensure that jobs are available to all communities of color, particularly the Black community, to ensure we are able to stay and live and afford to live in San Jose?
You know, we on any given day, when you look at our freeways, you see them clogged, backed up during the morning and evening hours of people either coming in or leaving because they can't afford to live here. My concern and my fear of in the future is that with IA developing, that's going to be an even more it will drain even more jobs from the lower income levels and medium income levels. We're going to have more people in those freeways going to places where they can afford to live. One of the things, and I want to echo what Pamela said as far as uh, uh, training our youth in the trades, which is good, but also taking a step further and becoming entrepreneurs once they learn those trades and get into the economic boom that has pulled a lot of people up in this valley, in this state, to another level so that they can then reach back and help other people do and accomplish the same thing. So certainly working with the school systems, but also working with businesses, the bigger businesses that are out there, and getting them to buy in, to mentor our youth, and continue with educating students from the junior college to the state and other universities that are out there.
Thank you. Babu Prasad?
Thank you very much for this question. This question is really personal to me as an immigrant, minor community. I saw everywhere, like when I came in this country, especially for like Black Lives Matter, we fought for that one. I'm a member of JEDI, Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion for California Democratic Party. And I seen there's not equality. Like as a small business owner, we have to bring more businesses and we have to give equal opportunity for all community, color and race. We cannot like make differences like you're black, he's an immigrant and she's like Asian. We cannot do that one. Any school admission, any colleges, any job, we have to be equal and fight for the equal. For business development, I saw if you apply for the license, if you go to get the permit from the like city, it takes longer and longer because not enough employee. We have to bring more employee. As a city council member, if I elect, I'm going to talk to and work with the city clerk to hire more employee. So work will be efficient and fighting for the better wages for the like our workers, not only in city, anywhere, and focus more to bring minority community in the like mainstream line so they can survive and thrive here in city of San Jose. Due to expensive place, we are unable to survive here. Our brother and sister, they are commuting 2 hours, 1 hour from different city to come to here to work. And it is very difficult for the minority community. Thank you.
Thank you. Vanessa?
I think there are quite a few ways that the city of San Jose can have a greater impact in providing jobs and creating pipelines for everyone, people of color, to find jobs. So at the city of San Jose, we currently have a significant amount of vacancies. And some of the things that we're trying to do is to just be diverse in our outreach. So making sure that we are informing our diverse communities of the opportunities for employment that currently exist at City Hall, which are good jobs with retirement benefits and with health insurance and a variety of different skill sets, right? So you don't necessarily have to have a 4-year degree to work for the city of San Jose. We have some really great programs and partnerships where we work with organizations like Conservation Corps and Work to Future, being able to continue those and bringing those to scale so that we can take folks, and particularly youth who have had maybe have been in and out of our criminal justice system or who have had some issues in the past, helping them get on the right track. So being able to provide mentorships, job opportunities, job training through those programs. And then it's also really important that we support our nonprofit organizations, right? So what the type of assistance that folks are looking for is resume assistance, job training programs, making sure that we have a coordinated network with our nonprofit organizations, our labor unions, and the city of San Jose so that we can strongly prepare people for the jobs that we need filled, and so that we can do outreach to our diverse communities so folks know these jobs are available. I would love to see a more diverse city hall, but also really importantly, we need a more diverse law enforcement, right? So bringing in people of color to work as community service officers and as police officers is extremely important as well.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate your time. So that's the time we have allotted for the District 2 candidates. So if you would like, go ahead and put your email or websites into the chat. Subsequent this meeting, you'll be hearing from Afro UPRIS. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Tamara, for having us.
You're welcome. So for the Afro UPRIS members present or anyone else who is listening, we'll be moving on to San Jose City Council District 4. We will be hearing from Canton Chu and David Cohen. I noticed a few people put some questions in the chat. So because we have 2 candidates for this one, we might have some time to ask the extra 2 questions that I didn't get to ask the other 2. Thank you so much for putting your website information in the chat. And let me make sure we have our 2 other candidates. Let's see. Oh, there you are. I don't see Canton Chu in the participants, nor is he in the waiting room. Let me just check my email really quick. Okay, I have nothing from him. So I guess we'll just get started with you, Councilmember David Cohen. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you. I probably have to cut it short. I'm in the middle of a community meeting that I stepped out of because I didn't know how long that meeting would go. But I decided I made time to connect briefly. I'm in another office, and I'm not sure how much longer I can stay. But anyway, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for making the time. I'm going to show a timer. So I'll give you, you know, I'm sure you have it down, but I'm just going to give you a minute to share about you and your campaign. Let's see. It should pop up.
I'll just get started when you're ready. Right. Thank you. I'm David Cohen. I've been representing District 4 in the San Jose City Council since 2021. I was elected in 2020 after serving 14 years on the local school board, the Berryessa School District School Board, and raising my family here in District 4. It's been a great opportunity for me to give back to the community. When I ran, I made a commitment to the community that I would address the needs of all the neighborhoods in the district. And we have we have a very, very interesting district in the variety of neighborhoods we have. We have the large Berryessa community, but we also have Alviso in the north, which is a largely neglected part of District 4. We also have the largest mobile home park in the city of San Jose in North San Jose and West Winds, and one of the other 5 largest mobile home parks Casa del Lago, and the community there that goes to the Orchard School has been often neglected as well. So I've spent a lot of time making sure that neighborhoods that previously had not had attention have gotten attention and have made some differences in those areas. But in addition, I'm focused on key citywide issues such as homelessness, housing, and the environment. Worked really hard to open up North San Jose to development again after years of stalemate due to a lawsuit with the county. I brought the county and city together to settle that lawsuit last year, and we're now beginning to work with developers to begin to build the next 20,000 housing units in North San Jose, and I'm excited about the work ahead. I'm probably out of time in my minute, so we'll hopefully address some of those things in the questions.
Yes, you actually just touched on my first question, which is for the Black community, we're really focused on how we can afford housing to continue to stay. So my question for you is, what are you going to do, or what have you already done to ensure we have affordable, permanent, and supportive housing available for the Black community as well as other communities of color? So I'll set the timer. Oh, you're muted. Hold on, let me restart this.
Okay, I guess I'm not. Sorry about that.
Go ahead now.
Yeah, so we know that affordable housing and the lack of affordable housing is our biggest crisis in the Bay Area and in San Jose, and so that's why it's been a high priority of mine to open up more development in the city, and particularly in North San Jose. I'm very excited to represent what I think will be the epicenter for development in the city going forward. Of our 65,000 housing units in our housing element, 24,000 of them are in North San Jose in my district. And as I said, I've worked to settle a lawsuit that the county had against the city that froze that development. Nothing has been built in North San Jose since 2014. So we're working really hard to change that. In addition, in that first round of housing that was built in the first few years, not a single one of those units was affordable. It was all market rate housing. So we also are committed, as we passed the new North San Jose plan a couple of years ago, that 20% of all housing in North San Jose going forward will be affordable, and we're insisting that it's inclusionary. We also have some some 100% affordable projects that are being done in North San Jose, and I'm looking forward to North San Jose being the district with the most affordable housing in the city after the work is done in the next decade.
Sorry, didn't realize I was muted. So next question. Another goal for Afro UPRIS, including the Black Leadership Kitchen Cabinet of Santa Clara County, is to ensure that we have access to jobs in this county. So as San Jose City Council member in the past, what have you done and what do you hope to do in the future to ensure that our communities, specifically the Black community, has access to jobs to ensure that we're able to afford to live here?
Yeah, I mean, so our economic development department is focused on a variety of different types of jobs and trying to attract businesses to the city. But in addition to that, we need to be focused on supporting small businesses, which are largely minority owned in Santa Clara County and San Jose. We have a priority for small businesses and local owned small businesses in our contracting with the city, so that when we put out to bid contracts for a variety of needs in the city, there's bonus points for being a local small business, and that helps us make sure that underrepresented businesses have access to those contracts. So we need to keep doing things like that. We also need to make sure that we attract, that we're focused on making sure that children have opportunity and access to education, so that they can take advantage of the variety of jobs that we have here in San Jose. Obviously, we're not the school district, but we work on after-school programs and other things that help get students access that they need to quality schools across the city of San Jose.
Thank you. So we have some questions from the members. First question. So Black people are disproportionately brutalized by the police and arrested, including in San Jose as well as other cities. So would you support setting aside money on the budget for trust, an alternative to police response with social workers, behavioral and mental health professionals?
Yeah, definitely. And we have actually started our mental health response team that is sent out on certain calls rather than police. We have that unit that is involved in calls first, when we know that those are the types of calls that we're experiencing. I definitely support making sure that we have more access to mental health care. As a school board member, I was the leader in bringing in social workers to our school district. We were the first school district in Santa Clara County to have a full-time social worker at every school. And so I know the importance of making sure that people have access to that type of care. And we know that many of the types of calls that police deal with are not calls which are needed, in which force is needed or in which armed response is necessary. And I'm very supportive of continuing to expand our mental health response team. What is it called? The MCAT, I forget what it stands for, but a program that allows us to send out mental health specialists rather than police to certain kinds of calls. Mental Crisis Action Team, I think is what it's called.
Oh, okay, great. Well, thank you so much for answering that question. And Elizabeth, you had another question? Are you still on the call?
Yes, I'm still on the call. Give me 1 second. I have to find it again. I put it in the chat. Okay. Where is it? Oh, okay. Here we go. Oops. No, I lost it again. Okay. Sorry. Taking into account the current genocide going on in Palestine, would you support a ceasefire resolution at the city council level? Why or why not?
Well, we just released a statement today from the city council expressing our views about working towards a peace and ending hostilities and making sure that that people are protected. The city council does have a policy not to wade into international politics, and I think it's important for the unity of our community that we continue to not make political statements on it. But it is important for us to express our values that everybody should have access to the resources that they need, the food they need, and that we work towards a negotiated solution that will end hostilities as quickly as possible. So, as I said, we released a statement today that was a joint statement by all 11 members of the city council that expresses those values that we all share.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember David Cohen, for joining. And I was looking through the chat. I don't see any other questions at this time. So I appreciate your time. And you may please put your email or website, how folks can learn more so they can get connected with you in your campaign. And we will be in communication with you after this meeting.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I look forward to being able to continue working on my priorities. So we talked about some, but also my environmental priorities, making sure that our city electrifies and is carbon neutral by 2030, really important, and something that many folks on the council don't make a priority. And I want to continue working on that, plus building our tree canopy and under resource parts of the city that don't have as many trees as some parts of the city do. So focused on some of those issues as well. But thank you so much for your time, and look forward to continuing to interact with you in the future.
Wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're supposed to begin with San Jose City Council District 6 at 7:20. So we'll just give it a few minutes and I'll make sure that those folks are in the chat. So sorry, in the Zoom. So please, in the chat, if you have any other questions, go ahead and add them. So far, we've got 4 questions that we're asking candidates. You've all heard them so far. If there's anything else you'd like to hear, raise your hand, or if there's anything else you'd like me to ask on your behalf, please put it in the chat. I see Alex is here. Olivia is here. And Angelo is here. Okay. Maybe we can get started early if you're available, that is. Otherwise, we can wait till 7:20. Okay, ready? Oh, wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining. So let's see. I keep losing track of everything in this Zoom. Where is that timer? Here we go. So I'll give each of you a minute. Actually, let's see. I'll give you 2 minutes for your intro, each of you. So please let us know if there's anything you'd like us to know in particular to your campaign platform, anything that's you're passionate about. We'll go in order. So we'll start with Olivia Navarro first. Let me make sure you can see this timer.
Yeah.
All righty. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. Thank you for first inviting me, and then second, for volunteering to be here tonight. I know that I've done that work before, and it takes a long time and investment of your personal time. A little bit about myself. My name is Olivia Navarro. For those of you that don't know me, I am born in District 6. I have had the privilege of raising my 3 beautiful children in this district, and I decided to run for city council upon finding out that we lost the last mother's voice of a school-age child last year when then Councilmember Arenas switched over and advanced to be county supervisor. I've had the honor of serving District 6 as the elected neighborhood commissioner by a caucus since 2016, reviewing the budget for the city of San Jose for transportation, code enforcement, public safety, and pretty much quality of life issues. Since then, I've ran many ad hoc committees, all geared in safety and making sure that we support things that would eventually bring us our Fire Station 37. I also ran that campaign from beginning to end, and now I serve as an oversight committee member for the city of San Jose. And it's repaved all our streets, most importantly, given us a Fire Station 37 that's on the corner of Lincoln and Kirtner. I want to continue to serve this district and be a champion for the working families of this district. I believe I'm the only one that has put in their dues in this district, and as a fellow Democrat that has been civically engaged even before I was had the ability to vote and served with many of you guys, I would hope to earn your support and your endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next we will hear from Angelo, and I don't know how to pronounce your last name, so if you can help me, that would be great.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angelo Pasciuti, and I'm a candidate for San Jose City Council District 6. So thank you so much for having me here this evening. It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you. As a senior in high school, I distinctly remember witnessing the events of September 11th. As the Twin Towers fell, I felt compelled to defend the ideals of American ideals of empathy, respect, and decency. I felt that our core values were the cornerstones of the country that I loved, were worth fighting for. So for 21 years, I fought, I was wounded, and I watched friends give their lives in defense of the principles of empathy, respect, and decency. And now I've come home. I've returned to build teams of people united by a cause of collective good to rewrite our shared story. In the polarizing times that we have, I think that empathy, respect, and decency are truly things that can define us. We the people, as our most sacred text declares, it truly means caring for one another. With 8,000 doors knocked by myself and counting, I've heard the calls for accountability and accessibility, principles in which I'll restore. And then guided by accountability, I want to ensure that every community member in our community itself abides by the shared rules of common decency. With an eye towards the future, I'll champion policies for environmental stability and affordable housing. I understand these goals are lofty, and I've also been called naive for believing in the power of unity. But I will not back down, nor will I apologize for continuing to believe that we can do better, that we can be better. If my career has taught me anything, it's the power of people and the power of hope, and that can unite and transform even the most desperate of situations. I come here tonight not simply seeking your endorsement and support. I'm looking for your trust, because I think that trust rooted in love, we can achieve the extraordinary. And I truly believe that we are in charge of our own story. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, Alex Shore. I will add the 2 minutes. Let's see, add spotlight. There we go. Go ahead.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so grateful that you formed this club, Afro UPRIS, in the last few years. This is a really important club that needs to exist. I'm Alex Shore. I live off the Alameda. I grew up in this county, went off for college and work and grad school, and came back 10 years ago to work for Santa Clara County Supervisor Ken Yeager. Got involved in my community, on my neighborhood association, starting a farmer's market near the Rose Garden, leading the effort to get a street renamed after Barack Obama, which happens to be in District 6. And meanwhile, I was seeing the housing crisis unfold in this community. My rent was raised 39% in 2.5 years. Dozens of my friends and loved ones, as I'm sure yours, have left this community because they couldn't afford to live here, because housing is so expensive, because wages aren't high enough, because of the systematic inequities that exist in our system in this city and in this country. And that's what's motivating me to run, with a background in public policy, expertise on housing and homelessness issues, having spent 8 years on the City Housing and Community Development Commission, running a nonprofit that I co-founded that's advocated for 20,000 homes in San Jose and Silicon Valley, including a focus on affordable housing. That's going to be my top priority on the council, is housing and homelessness. We have deep inequities that Black and Brown people face in our community to find housing that go back decades. And I am committed to helping address those by building the housing we need and addressing equity as a council member. I'm so grateful for your time and looking forward to your really great questions. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. So we will start with you. We're going to go in the opposite order for the first question, and then we'll go back and forth, changing our order, basically going back and forth between who started first and who goes last. So let me reset the timer. I'm going to give you 1 minute for this first question. And Afro UPRIS, we have something that a lot of us have been experiencing, is access to affordable housing. So one of our goals this year is how can we push for that, advocate for that, and ensure that we have that access in the Black community, but as well as for other communities of color. So our question for you all is, what have you done, or what will you do to ensure that we have access to permanent and supportive housing?
And you're starting with me?
Oh, yes, sorry if I confused you. We're starting with you.
Great. Well, I'm going to continue to advocate for it as I've done for years. And I'm going to ask every developer who wants to build in our district 4 questions. Number 1, how much housing you're going to build. Number 2, how much affordable housing you're going to build. Number 3, what's the community engagement process that you're going to undertake to input the community's ideas on how to make projects better and build support for them. And as part of that, number 4, what are the community benefits? What are the jobs? What are the sustainability aspects? What are the arts and culture that you're going to bring with that project? And that's going to really be my focus in those conversations on developments in District 6. I'm also going to continue to advocate for the Silicon Valley African American Cultural Center and the homes and the mixed use project that will be there, and continue to have tough conversations with District 6 residents about the importance of supporting that project and the Black community that we need to keep here in San Jose.
Thank you so much. We're going to go back to Angelo.
Thank you for the question. Yes, affordable housing continues to be an issue across the city and across the district specifically. I think that I really like the idea of working to be able to resolve systemic inequities that have been created over time. We understand that there has been redlining inside of the city of San Jose. We understand that transit corridors have been built around lower socioeconomic communities to be able to continually separate them from higher socioeconomic means. The idea is preserving affordable housing, creating more housing inside of the city itself, and then realizing an opportunity for economic empowerment. I think that the idea of an ecosystem, right? So the African American Culture Center project that's specifically planned for, the Alameda inside of District 6 is an ecosystem. What you're doing is you're creating a potential opportunity for multiple generations and multiple different types of people within a small community to have access to affordable housing. One of the things that's not talked about with access to affordable housing is childcare, because childcare often has to be a decision between a parent working or earning an income or paying for that child. The ecosystem in which you've created with the model of the cultural center is exactly the answer we need for the rest of the city and the district.
Thank you so much. And same question.
You want to repeat it? Sorry, 'cause I had a child near me talking when you
yeah, I can repeat it. Are you sorry, I can't see you. Are you able to come on?
I can hear you.
Oh, there you are. I get it. I just lost you for a second. Okay. So the question is, one of Afro UPRIS's goals is to continue to advocate for access to affordable, permanent and affordable housing, since a lot of us are having an issue with making sure we have that affordable, livable housing. So in particular to how it affects the Black community, what have you done, or what will you do to ensure that we have access to affordable housing?
Thank you. Well, I'll speak on what I have done. I've had the privilege of going to Sacramento, and most recently I went and I was one of the speakers on SB 423, which was a Scott Wiener bill that extended SB 35, and it actually strengthened that bill. And basically what it is to get more development happening. If we don't have development happening, we need especially affordable developments happening here in the city of San Jose, and we don't build. And a lot of the building permitting process gets delayed, which makes it so that we don't have anything available for a lot of people to live in. As someone that was married to a former person that was houseless and couch surfing right after he graduated from Santa Clara University, I know that even if you have a high level degree, it is very expensive to live here in San Jose. And I saw firsthand the challenges that people have, in particular when you're trying to fill out an application. So I know for me, I would have a zero tolerance. I'm running out of time, so there you go.
Thank you so much. Okay, next question. We're actually gonna just start with you this time, Olivia. So another goal for the Black community, particularly in San Jose, but also in Santa Clara County, aligned with the Black Leadership Kitchen Cabinet's Black agenda, is to have access to jobs. So jobs that not just out of college, but also out of high school. So what will you do, or what have you done to ensure that the Black community, as well as communities of color, have access to well-paying, livable, wage-paying jobs? 1 minute.
Actually, thank you. I've actually worked a lot. I worked and coordinated with now Councilmember Peter Ortiz, but when he was on SCOE at the ranch, to have a juvenile training and apprenticeship programs for a lot of the juvenile youth. I've also worked with a lot of high schools and developed and implemented programming with the high schools to get them engaged in getting into building trades, because a lot of people think about only going into college, and sometimes they don't want to, or they want to go into a different trade. As someone myself that was a licensed PNC agent, very successfully running multi-million-dollar book of business, there's different avenues besides getting a college degree. My daughter is going to San Jose State University. It is super expensive, but there are different avenues and different routes that everybody can take. And I've been very supportive in implementing many of those programs with our high school students.
Thank you so much. Okay, we will go back to Angelo. Same question. Let me add you as the spotlight. 1 minute.
Thank you very much. We do not have to be prisoners of the events of our lives. I've come from the military, which in and of itself exists a caste system. I worked for the last 5 years of my career to upend the caste system that says where you start this journey dictates where you end up. Inside of the city, our job as government is to provide equal access towards upward mobility. Part of that entails an idea of access to grants, access to educational funding, access to entrepreneurial programs, vocational training if required, and then expansion of opportunities for after school or educational training in the regards of potential for big brother, big sister clubs that take people and show them a pathway that is different than one that is kind of spinning. So the idea itself is to provide upward mobility through mentorship, through training, and then through advocacy, through a lot of grants inside of the state of California to come back to the city itself and provide the chance for others to achieve their dream.
Thank you so much. Alex Shore, same question. 1 minute.
The minimum wage just went up in San Jose to $17.55, which for those who get an annual salary is $36,000 a year. Who the hell in San Jose can live for $36,000 a year in this community? I don't know anyone who could easily. And as a result, I don't think the living wage is still enough. I'm sorry, the minimum wage is still enough. I think we need something closer to a living wage. In this campaign, I'm proposing $25 an hour as the minimum wage in San Jose to truly create a living wage, which translates to $52,000 a year. And even then, I don't know how folks can afford to live in this community, but we've got to get wages up higher because we can't continue to just subsidize. As much as we want to build affordable housing, and we need to, and I will advocate for it, we also need wages to come up too, so that more folks can afford to live here, and we can provide better jobs like the ones Afro UPRIS is talking about.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next question and start with you, Alex. It was in the chat, so let me find it again. Oh, Catherine, I see you have a question. Did you want me to ask it or did you want to ask? It's very similar to the one that I'm going to be asking next. I'll just ask this new one. Oh, thank you. All right. It's in the chat, everyone, if you saw Catherine put it. So trust is the county's non-police crisis response team recommended in the RIPS process, the Reimagining Public Safety Committee, which was around about 2 years ago now. And the pilot has been successful. Not the same thing as PERT or MCRT. However, half the calls come from San Jose, but only one of four teams are in San Jose. 2/3 of calls are resolved without dispatching the mobile team, which is good because the response time for the trust truck is 30-ish minutes. Would you support another trust team for San Jose as part of diverting calls from San Jose PD to more appropriate resources? So 1 minute. Alex.
I mean, I still have to learn more about it, and I'm happy to learn from folks after this call. I think at the end of the day, what I care most about is that people in our community are not shot, tased, abused, hurt at all by any authority figure in the city of San Jose. And so making sure that whoever is responding to the call is addressing it in the right way. I absolutely support more mental health professionals intervening. If you read the Mercury News expose in October, you saw that a lot of most of the folks that are being shot or attacked in San Jose are actually folks who have been intoxicated or on drugs or having a mental health issue. So we've got to cut down on that. And if the trust program is the best means we have to do it, I'm totally supportive of it. I'm also supportive of other options that emphasize mental health professionals responding to mental health crises.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Angelo. Same question, 1 minute. Go ahead.
Nearly 40% of the calls our officers go on inside of the city of San Jose do not require an armed response. I'm the only person running for city council across San Jose, I think actually with the exception of District 2, who has carried a gun for a living. Here's what I understand. Violence doesn't solve everything, and the threat of violence doesn't solve everything. When there's 40% of the calls that our officers go on that don't require an armed response, what they can actually do is when they show up, they can exacerbate a situation, a potential mental health crisis or a domestic disturbance, or excuse me, domestic violence call. They have the opportunity to exacerbate that situation. So whether that be through our trust teams, absolute advocate for increasing that. They're woefully unfunded. We need to be able to provide bespoke or specific solutions to specific challenges. When that call comes in, it should get triaged inside of the dispatcher's office that says, okay, do we need an armed response to this? Is this loss of limb or eyesight or a threat to someone's life? Or is this someone where we can have a conversation and talk them down? But at the same token, having an armed response very close by so that our mental health professionals can be backed up. Thanks.
Thank you. Olivia Navarro, same question.
Thank you. I am familiar with the trust program. I do agree it is successful. It is woefully unfunded. I actually do know that they have a good program with the city, but at times they're not able to get to the crisis on time or in a sufficient amount of time, or sometimes it even takes to the next morning. So I would definitely be a proponent of diverting calls to the trust team. I think that they're a lot more prepared and qualified to handle those calls and de-escalating the situation, not only for the person that's having the mental health crisis, but also to support the family, because that's one of the things that they do is they support the family that's in the household with the individual that's having the mental health crisis. So yes, I would be totally supportive of expanding both and figuring out a way that the city can coordinate with the county to do so.
Thank you so much. For this last question, we're gonna go to Angela. I think you didn't go first on any of them, so I'm gonna have you go first this time. So let me double check the chat. I know that let's see. Yes, here's the question. Okay. I will put it in the chat again because this one was put in the chat for everyone to see. So taking into account the current genocide going on in Palestine, would you support a ceasefire resolution at the city council level? Why or why not? And let me add you 1 minute.
This is a tough question. I've seen more, and I'm not an advocate for it. I've seen enough violence and brutality across the world to survive and have enough for 1,000 lifetimes. Two things I think can be true at the same time. I think that our Palestinian brothers and sisters should be able to advocate for a way of life that's free from retribution and free from a totalitarian rule by an oppressive state. And at the same token, an Israeli government has the right to be able to live peacefully with freedom from attacks. There is so much to discuss in regards to the geopolitics in the conversation here. Hezbollah, Hamas, right? The Houthis. I understand this more than the average citizen, and understand that the idea for this thing is the only thing that we can provide right now is a two-state solution to solve this thing. I'm not an advocate for war. I'm not an advocate for violence, and I hope that they can come to a peaceful resolution.
Thank you so much. Alex Shore, you'll go next. Same question, it's in the chat. 1 minute.
I support peace and human dignity for everyone. Call me old-fashioned, but we've got enough challenges and problems in San Jose. I'm the kind of person who thinks government folks should stick to the issues where they can really make an impact. And I read the news. I am a political science major. I've thought about questions like this, but you would be hiring me to represent you at the San Jose City Council to make changes in the roads, the parks, the police, the fire, the buildings that get built, the quality of life in your neighborhoods. And that to me is where I want to keep a focus, because I want to make sure I'm doing everything to help the lives of San Jose residents. And I think working on local policy is the way to do that. And so that's where my focus is going to continue to be as your council member.
Thank you so much. And then same question, Olivia.
Thank you. While there's a policy in place in the city of San Jose for us not to take any national stand for international things, on a personal note, I'd like to say that I'm also a delegate for the Central Labor Body, and I did support a ceasefire resolution. What I supported as a council member is a little bit difficult. I support not killing innocent lives and children and families. I went to the convention and I saw all the little shoes and I broke down crying. As a mother, I can't imagine the atrocities that they're living and the loss of life that they're living day to day. But I also think that as an individual, we can support things. And I also think that if maybe the council can't, the council members individually can. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that is the time that we've allotted for all three of you. Thank you all for your time. If you would like, please put your website or email or any way that folks can learn more about you. And you will be hearing from Afro UPRIS after our meeting.
Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity. I hope you have a great evening.
Thanks,
y'all. I'll put something in the chat.
Wonderful. Okay, everybody. Next on our agenda is San Jose City Council District 8. So let me look for our candidates. 1, 2, 3. Yay, you're all here. So if you are able to, please turn your camera on so we can get a good look at you. And we will start with 1 minute each of introductions. The other 3 joined a little bit earlier because we only had one candidate come in for District 4, so they had a little bit more time. And we will be starting, and please correct me if I'm wrong with saying anybody's names, please. So is it Sukhdev?
Yeah,
Baniwal?
Yeah,
Sukhdev. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. All right, so let me set the timer for 1 minute. There we go. And add spotlight. All righty, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. This is Sukhdev Baniwal. I've been a 46-year resident of District 8, local here in San Jose. Some of the priorities that I'm going to work on is public safety is a big issue that's running into my district here, and homelessness, and elderly care is something that I care about. Also, want to be able to support our seniors that we have in our district, and small businesses, education, so we can all be able to, as we talked about some of the questions, be able to afford to live in San Jose and creating more affordable housing. So as I raise my family here, I want my children to be able to raise their families here also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we will have Domingo Candelas. And add spotlight. There you are. 1 minute. Go ahead.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. I'm really excited to be here. I'm Domingo Candelas. I have the pleasure and privilege to be able to represent Council District 8 on the City Council, a council district that I was born and raised in. Having been, I'm a proud product of not just the Evergreen School District, but the Eastside Union High School District. I've seen the changes in the district from my days at Evergreen Valley High School, Shibuya, Montgomery. I've seen the change, and since taking office, I've made constituent services and community engagement my top priority to ensure that my residents know that they have an advocate at City Hall, knows somebody who's engaged, accountable, and puts their priorities first. We know there's a lot of issues in our city and especially in our district, issues around public safety, issues around homelessness and the housing crisis. But most importantly, I think there's a need to increase community and to build that social fabric, ultimately to create stronger neighborhoods. And that's what I'm about, and that's what this campaign's about. So I look forward to the dialogue and to talking with everybody this evening.
Thank you so much. Next is Tam Trunk. Did I say that right?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Let me reset the timer. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you everyone for having me here. Tam Trong, candidate for City Council District 8. I grew up in District 8, attending Shibuya Middle School and Silver Creek High School. Married with my wife Tracy and two little kids, Justin, who's 9, and Jalen, who's 7. 20-year law enforcement, 5 years with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department and 15 years with San Jose Police Department, currently a sergeant. My journey has been pretty rough at the start, from being homeless in Vietnam and to being immigrant, coming at age of 9, where I have to stay at Thailand Immigration Prison. So my journey has been rough. I have to fight for fairness all the time. I have my share of mistreated and unfairness, obviously through the journey. But as a training officer, I train everybody from many different ethnicity background to make sure that they represent our community properly. Law enforcement with compassion. My priority is to make sure that everyone has equal opportunity, whether it's job or housing, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to connect with people.
Thank you. All right, we'll start with you for the first question. And we'll just go from you, then we'll go to Domingo, then Sukhdev, and then back in that original order. So Afro UPRIS has been working on this issue along with all the other members in the Black community for a long time on making sure that we have access to affordable housing. So what have you done, or what will you do as a city council member to ensure that the Black community is able to get access to affordable and permanent or supportive housing?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I mean, my priority is to make sure that everyone has equal opportunity, whether it's housing or job opportunity. I believe everybody should have a fair share. As a training officer, that's fair share of making it to become a member of law enforcement in our community. And like I said, I train many different ethnic background, from AAPI community to African American officers, to make sure that they have a fair share, equal shot to be law enforcement officer in your community. As far as housing, I believe everybody, the most important aspect is the measurement. How do we measure the fairness of all the programs? There's many programs out there. And as an immigrant, when I first came here, I myself and my family were on general assistance and food stamp, and we had an equal opportunity, and where we took advantage of that and get our schooling to make sure that we're able to graduate and get a job. So that's what I want to do as overall for the city of San Jose and our members, to make sure we have equal opportunity.
Thank you. Next, Domingo, same question. Let me add you on Spotlight. 1 minute.
Yeah, no, this is a great question. In the city, the city of San Jose, this comes down to a question of housing demand, supply and demand. We need to do more as a city to increase the overall supply of housing, and housing production, specifically in strategic places, making sure that we are building more to allow more opportunities for folks to access housing. Building more permanent supportive housing and/or affordable housing is important. We a lot of times have to get out of our own way as a city to allow the entitlement and the process of building housing. There's a couple regional measures that are being discussed. The Bay Area Housing Financing Agency, or BAFA, is exploring a multi-billion-dollar effort to be able to fund the building of affordable housing. This is critical, especially to our historically disadvantaged community of Black and brown families that have been historically disenfranchised, especially with redlining. That's something that's happened, and this is an opportunity for us to right some of the historical significance and the whole historical wrongs.
Thank you. Sukhdev, same question, 1 minute.
Thank you. Yes, we need more housing. We need to have the quota of housing in San Jose more, so we're able to afford those. So I propose having smaller housing, ADUs, vertical housing, social community housing, where we're able to afford to live. As I knock on more and more doors, what I see is some families with 4 bedrooms, just husband and wife, elderly living there, while their kids are away from there. So if you can have more housing close by with families together, say ADU in the back, if the son wants to move in the back close by, what that does is keeps the family together, for supporting each other, and they're also able to afford and stay within San Jose. So small housing, ADUs, vertical housing is the way to go. Thank you.
Okay, well, we're going to go to the next question, and it'll be you first. So one of the goals, another goal that Afro UPRIS and other Black community members are working towards in San Jose, but more broadly in Santa Clara County, is to have access to jobs. So jobs that pay a livable wage, not just after college, but also out of high school. So what have you done, or what will you do to ensure that the Black community has access to livable wage paying jobs?
Yeah. First of all, everybody needs to have equal access to the living wage, which I fought for when I was part of the airport commission. I fought to get living wage for people who were not getting with the city contracts, while that was the rental car employees, while all the other ones were getting it. So I'm always supporting to have equal access for everyone, so they're able to have quality of life. Second is small businesses. We need to promote more small business, create those small types of jobs. So, which retail, where you don't need a college degree. And then I counsel youth to get a higher degree, but also trade school. I'm also telling them to, if you don't want to go to college, go to some type of a trade school, so you have some knowledge to be able to get a job in San Jose. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will go back to Domingo. Same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No. I can
1
remember.
minute. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, definitely. This is super important. And I think it starts primarily with, contracts that are funded through public dollars on major infrastructure projects that we have, making sure that we are working on disadvantaged business enterprise targets, so our minority and women-owned businesses have an opportunity, a fair opportunity and shot to work on public projects. This is something I worked firsthand when I was with State Senator Jim Bell, and we were working on the high-speed rail project and different other state-funded projects. How can we earmark or target a percentage of the project to go to minority and women-owned businesses? So how can we encourage targets to quantify and not just have a sense of tokenism? Working very closely with the Minority-Owned Business Consortium, for example, to get them allocated dollars for outreach, to be able to build our community and ultimately empower our minority and business-owned women businesses. That's a key facet of that.
Thank you so much. Tam Trung, same question.
Yes,
1 minute.
I think I'll start with the proper home environment, right? When it comes to housing. proper fair share of housing opportunity, childcare, education, whether it's trade school or college opportunity. The process has to be fair, has to be transparent. We need to focus on the minority disadvantaged community having same opportunity when it comes to funding for small businesses. But more importantly, we have to provide continuous support. When things fall between the cracks, we have to have some kind of measure, a tool to identify people that need our help, to help them. This goes with any community. People are struggling in San Jose, whether it's job placement, wages, rising of costs, they need help, and we need to have a program to continue providing support for these folks in our community. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. So, next question. Let me go to the chat. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm reading it. So there's two more questions. Both of them are in the chat, and we'll start with you, Tam. Let me make sure I reset the timer. 1 minute. Thank you. So trust is the county's non-police crisis response team recommended in the RIPS process, Reimagining Public Safety. And the pilot has been successful. Not the same thing as PERT or the MCRT. However, half the calls come from San Jose, but only 1/4 teams are in San Jose. 2/3 of the calls are resolved without dispatching the mobile team, which is good because the response time for the trust truck is 30-ish minutes. Would you support another trust team for San Jose as part of the diverting calls from SJPD to non-police community resources? And so, she put also Surge is amplifying the requests of Silicon Valley Debug, who have worked with the county to create Trust. Surge showing up for racial justice. So 1 minute.
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware of the program. I think I always support programs like that, especially for a nonviolent subject where they're not hurting anybody, right? They're not hurting others or themselves. I mean, as a field supervisor, I always made it my practice to reach out to our mental health team and ask them to handle some of these calls. We have on our team perks, right? Psychiatric emergency response team, where clinician will come out along with our team, or MCAT, mental crisis assessment team. I know they're different, but for us as a sergeant, I try to use as much as resources, think outside the box, but they are understaffed. Even MCAT and PERS are right now are understaffed. So we need to look to support those programs, and definitely for the trust program. Yeah, you know, if you guys can help, the trust can help our police department, which is very stretched thin, some of these calls, or where they can handle it, especially nonviolent mental health call, I'm definitely supportive of that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, Domingo, same question, 1 minute.
Yeah, no, thank you. Absolutely. I think in our community, we have an overwhelming need to be able to respond to calls, not just with law enforcement, but with mental health professionals and folks who are well versed on de-escalating and diffusing difficult situations that don't primarily fall within the jurisdiction of law enforcement, but because of the lack of adequate mental health, behavioral health, and substance abuse services, has a lot of times defaulted to law enforcement. And so we need to be innovative, and we need to be thinking outside of the box with programs like Trust, and being able to leverage that relationship with the county to be able to have better outcomes, because these are folks who are suffering, and obviously when somebody calls either 911 or is having a psychiatric or psychotic episode, they're not at it's not the best, it's not the finest moment of their life. And so the reality is this is one of those programs that is beneficial, and this is something that we have to lean in as a city, as a county, to ensure that our residents are getting the most responsive care that they need from the right people, not necessarily law enforcement.
My apologies. Thank you for answering the question. I just realized I didn't start the timer, but I
tried my best to stay within the minute. So
yeah, thank you. And Sukhdev, are you back? I saw you said
Yeah,
that you.
can you hear me?
Okay,
Sorry,
great.
my Bluetooth died.
Well, okay. Well,
All right.
same question. My question's in the chat, and let me make sure I actually start at this time. 1 minute. There you go.
Yes, I do support having another team for trust, as we do have a very thin police force. Having an alternative community response to the calls is important, especially mental health. If there's a mental health crisis, a call, it should be with a person that has mental health training. Rose Garden Library, one guy, homeless guy came in with a machete, and he did have mental health issues. And having de-escalating when they sent a officer with a gun, it can escalate that person with more violence. But having a mental health expert who can, de-escalate that situation would have helped. So yes, I do support it.
Thank you so much. All right, so last question. We'll give you a minute each. This time, Domingo, I'll have you go first. This question is also in the chat, and I can re-add it. So that way it's at the bottom for everybody. Let's see.
Are you going to read it? Okay, sorry.
Yes, I will. Sorry. So taking into account the current genocide going on in Palestine, would you support a ceasefire resolution at city council level? Why or why not? 1 minute.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for the question. You know, in fact, my colleagues and I just put out a statement yesterday with regards to the horrific events that have been occurring in the Middle East, and ultimately, you know, condemning the actions of folks who are endangering innocent lives and undermining the prospects for peace. That's critical. And as members of the community, I know there's been plenty of folks who have been urging the council to take action. And, you know, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but we actually have city policy that states specifically that, you know, we're not to take positions on matters of U.S. foreign policy. But not doing anything was out of the question. So condemning those actions and being clear that we have an obligation to unequivocally reject all hate in our community is what we're doing to express leadership and solace for all the death and destruction that we're witnessing in the Middle East.
Thank you so much. Tam Trung, same question. 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yes. I mean, I'm from Vietnam, right? My family suffered from the Vietnam War, and then I can tell you that I don't support it because of the war. That's how I ended up being homeless, right? And sleeping in the back of the kitchen of my kindergarten. And I had to leave my country for land of opportunity, and this is where I'm at, right? While I think the position of a city council don't have direct influence over the decision, but I still believe we can support our community to make sure that everybody's voice is heard and all the concerns are shared evenly. We need to support a local community and focus on here and provide support here. Our community members, whether on which side of the fence, have a right to safety, right? At schools, at work, and while you're home, while you go shopping. So there shouldn't be any fear. There shouldn't be any hate crimes. And if there is, then it needs to be addressed. And I think that's the position I want to take. But yes, wars are very, very bad as anything. Innocent life get destroyed. Innocent family homes get destroyed. Thank you for the question.
You're welcome. All right. Sukhdev, 1 minute, same question.
Yes, I would support a ceasefire right away. because war is not the solution to a peaceful solution is always needed at the table where we can resolve our issues. And then the second thing I want to bring up is nobody should be having any type of fear. Any type of hatred is not tolerated here locally. I would not tolerate any type of hate against anyone, whether it's the Jewish community or the Palestinian community. I think the city council trying to stay out of the international politics is the right thing. We should not be using our taxpayers' money. A lot of people are saying our taxpayer money should not be used to kill babies and children and inciting violence. So I would agree to a ceasefire right away. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for especially because it's 8:06 now. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for answering our questions. If you would like to, please add your website, email, any contact information, or ways that folks can learn more about you. And you will be hearing for Afro UPRIS later this week. So if there's anything else that anyone has, you can put it in the chat. Any Afro UPRIS members, if there's any other questions, go ahead. Otherwise, that is it for the evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for putting this together.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining.
Have a nice evening, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Good night.
Yeah.
Okay, so Afro UPRIS members, I'll be sending an email, and if there's any follow-up information, please use what information has been shared with the candidates if you need to, or if you want to send something to me, we can have a follow-up to our Meet the Candidates night tonight. But we will see each other again soon, and please save the chat if you didn't already. I'm trying to do it right now. Hopefully I allowed it. Let's see. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know how to do it.
Press on the three buttons at the bottom, or the three dots,
and
it should say save chat.
Oh, there it is. Thank you so much. Saved. Appreciate it. All right. Have a good night.